Chelsea. This is my channel, The Fancy Hat Lady Reads. I'm wearing a fancy booktube hat. And on this absolutely dreary, dismal, rainy day with no natural light, I realized that it is the end of the month and I haven't yet done my monthly recommendations. So here we go. Monthly recommendations is a Goodreads group created by Trina from Between Chapters and Kayla Rain. I'll link the info for the group below. Every month they give us a topic and we get to come up with recommendations based on that topic. The topic for this month, November, is family focus. And I've got 3 books here that I would like to highlight for this topic. The first 2 of them are books from authors I talk a lot about on this channel that I have not particularly talked about in their own right before. The first is Rose Daughter by Robin McKinley. This is her second retelling of Beauty and the Beast. Of course, Beauty is far more famous. I have not talked about this book on my channel before, in part because I had loaned this copy out for some time and I just recently got it back, so it's now on my shelves again to remind me of its existence. I would say that the style of this book is a little more sophisticated and mature than the style of Beauty. I would compare this more to something like Spindle's End if you've read that one. But it is also, like Beauty, a pretty faithful retelling of Beauty and the Beast while being a completely different book. This one is more to do with rose gardening and also more to do with family. One of the most distinctive things about this particular retelling of Beauty and the Beast is the treatment of Beauty's family. In the original fairy tale, you know, she has these 2 frivolous, good-for-nothing sisters. And, you know, Beauty is the youngest, who's actually the good one. And one of the things that I actually liked the most about this retelling was the fact that each of the sisters is really given a full story arc and character development. And even though they may have character flaws, that doesn't make them bad people. And without giving away the ending of this book, I think that its most prominent twist on the story of Beauty and the Beast is the fact that the conclusion of this book ends up focusing very heavily on notions of family and the value of family above, say, material wealth. The next book I want to talk about is also a fairy tale retelling, and it's one that I've mentioned quite a few times recently on my channel because I've been reading the rest of the series, but I've never talked about this one in its own right, and that is Daughter of the Forest by Juliet Marillier. This book is a retelling of the Wild Swan story that exists in various iterations. The series as a whole, the Seven Waters series, becomes a sort of multi-generational family story with each book following someone else in the family. So I would in fact recommend the series as a whole for this theme, but I think this is a particularly good choice because of the fairy tale that it's based on is about a girl whose brothers are all turned into swans and she has to perform, you know, an incredibly difficult task in order to get them back into their human form again. If I remember correctly, before that sort of retelling kicks in, you also spend a lot of time at the beginning of the book with the protagonist Sorcha growing up with her brothers, and she has an especially close relationship with one of her brothers in particular. I think this book, there is construction happening in the apartment above me. I think this book actually works fairly well as a standalone fairy tale retelling, but it also forms the basis for all of the family history that's so deeply important for the rest of the series. The third book I want to talk about is a middle grade book that I read back during the Booktubeathon earlier this year, and it was a library book, so I don't have a copy, but it's Where the Mountain Meets the Moon by Grace Lin. This is a fantasy story about a young girl from an impoverished Chinese village. Her name is Min Li, and it's sort of a pretty standard story about a girl who heads off on a magical adventure, except that I think one of the things this book does incredibly well is avoiding the thing that authors often do, where in order to have their child go off on a magical adventure, they have to, like, conveniently get rid of the parents somehow. This book actually focuses quite strongly on family. McKinley heads off on her adventure in order to seek good fortune for her family in the first place, but then after their daughter runs off, we get chapters where we go back and see how the parents are doing, and follow their emotional journey as well, as they wonder what has happened to their daughter and why, and whether or not she will be coming home. And when I first read it, one of the first things that I thought about it was that this family element of this book meant that it would be a really great book for parents and their children to read together, for, you know, family reading. And so I thought I would leave you with a book that you could maybe share with your family if you have a family with small children. Anyhow, that is all for now. Just a quick video. I hope the noise from the apartment above has not been too infuriating. I myself have been pretty pissed off. But anyhow, that is all. Let me know if you have any good books that are family-centered that you would like to recommend. Bye for now.